Okay. Today is one of that very moody day. No sunshine, no sun's up, no golden hour, just pure cloud and moody. Speaking of 4K, is it a big deal? Yes, it's a big deal. But till this point of time, I never used any 4K settings in my camera or my phone. By saying that, the small b-roll in the beginning that you guys saw, I actually shot that. 90% of that I shot in my iPhone. Why is it a big deal? Before getting into that, the camera that I'm using right now, A6500, will shoot 4K in 25 frames up to 100 megabits per second. Still, that's a lot of details you're getting in, but my iPhone actually, however, it have a little more advantage over the 4K settings. It shoot 135 megabits per second 4K in 24 frames per second. So 24, that filmic, the accurate film frame rate, you can actually shot with that iPhone. It's a plus point. And the extra bonus, it shoots up to 60 frames per second in 4K up to 400 megabits per second, which is a huge plus point. And I want to test out how the iPhone actually stack with this camera over here, because iPhone, if you use the iPhone, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be cinematic, it's not gonna be that accurate cinematic. You definitely need a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera to get the actual filmic kind of look, even if you're shooting in 4K or not. But this here is the first official time I want to check out the 4K, and also I want to know how good the iPhone footage is. So I liked it a lot, but I'm not gonna use it often because you need to use in a specific way to get the best out of the iPhone, because you're focusing on one focal length. You only have that one focal length. It's not gonna benefit too much, just like a DSLR does. The shallow depth of field and all that, you definitely need a camera for that, not just iPhone. But you definitely get good footage out of the iPhone, comparing with this camera here. Then why is 4K a big deal? It's not that far ago, like 4K has been like, we all look up to 4K like, wow, 4K. Now that 4K is coming downstairs, like it's in front of us, we're actually looking at 4K in a straight way, like we're looking at the 1080p footages. There was a time not that long ago, like 5 to 6 years ago, we look up to 4K and we say, wow, 4K. Now 4Ks are becoming into the space where they're actually coming to the space where 1080p footage was 5 to 6 years ago, and we're looking at 6K 8K footages. Like, wow, that's the high quality. And so I'm not focusing on the camera 4K, I'm more about why 4K is a big deal when it comes to uploading videos in YouTube, because that's a big question. A lot of people maybe don't know, or maybe they're kind of ignoring. So it's really interesting that most of the people and very successful YouTubers out here in Kerala are still uploading it in 1080p, whether they don't know the potential or they don't have time for that. Whatever the reason is, I'm not judging anybody. Please don't take this as a negativity or anything like that. I'm just saying my opinion about 4K and all that. But I never seen anybody posting in 4K, the vlogs and all that. It's not that like the revolution is happening with the 4K everywhere, but it's not yet there where we all can use 4K. Of course 4K is the way to go. It's not yet there. I'm not talking just here in Kerala, I'm talking all around the world. There are still people, a lot of people still upload their videos in 1080p. So the main reason why I post all my videos in 4K is because it's gonna increase the quality of footage drastically, or you will definitely see the difference. I learned this from my favorite YouTubers like Peter McKinnon and Maddie. I love them so much. I learned a lot from these guys for the past 2 to 3 years about cameras, specs, and color grading, editing, and all that. And they're shooting in 1080p, and what they're doing is they're gonna upscale it into 4K while post-production, uncompressed version, and they upload it in YouTube, because YouTube have a codecs crush going on. They're gonna compress the footage. They're gonna compress your codecs when you upload it in 4K. They're gonna upload when you upload your video onto YouTube. So there's a compression going on. So does the 1080p footage gonna be any better when you upload it in 4K? From my personal experience, yes, it does. Which leads a question in my mind: if I'm getting much different results with those 1080p footage upscaling into 4K, how actually 4K footage look like once I posted one without any compression going on? That's the main reason why I'm doing this in 4K, and that's the main reason why I use this guy, because still I need a little bit of slow motion stuff that for the b-roll my camera don't have. Then this guy is pretty cool. It shoots up to 400 megabits per second, 60 frame. That's a lot of data and details you're getting into your clip. Most of the shot I actually shoot with my hand completely and handheld. There's nothing much going around. Luckily this thing got an in-body stabilization with all the cameras. That's a plus side for the iPhone. But however, I used this guy for some extra shots. It's a Mosa Mini Me gimbal. I hated this gimbal since the day I brought it because it never served me in any way. Now this thing runs with a Chinese app. Chinese app is not, any of that is available here. So this thing is completely useless right now. RIP. So on the other hand, when you edit your footage in laptop, in Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, whatever, I don't use any of the 4K given codecs or suggested codecs within that software. I made my own 4K timeline and exporting system, uncompressed, because if you export that 4K, that upscaled 4K in an already given codecs within the Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, you can expect a compression going already in there. Then once you upload it with the YouTube again got a compression going around. So it's like first compression, then the second compression. It's a complete garbage. Or not, I'm not saying garbage. It's gonna be not that awful or beautiful to watch. You're not gonna get the same color quality and all that. So I don't do that anymore. I did make a couple of videos like that 2 years ago, till 1 year ago. Then I figured it out. I should edit completely in a 4K timeline uncompressed, and I made my own exporting custom settings uncompressed without losing any details, and that's how I edit and export my videos. Which leads to the final question or final stage: should you shoot in 4K? No, absolutely not. I'm not going to use 4K unless it's super needy. I will definitely stick with 1080p, just like I said. What if you're starting up, or you don't have a good software to edit your footage? Doesn't matter. Just make videos, because a whole lot of people think in a different way that, oh, I need a 4K editing machine, or I need that to do this. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the people who have a computer or something like that which have an option to edit in 4K and export in 4K, definitely that's a better option to go with. Or otherwise, if you don't have that, just create video. Your talent matters the most. So what I want to convey is, shooting in 4K, it's not necessary, but uploading it in an uncompressed, upscaled version 4K version to YouTube is gonna make a whole difference to your viewing experience when you're using this little guy here. So with that being said, it's not necessary if you don't have setups for that. Just keep doing what you do. If you have something like this, then you should definitely try it and upscale it to a whole different way. And that's why I'm doing this every video in 4K and all that. Not shooting, upscaling it. So with that being said, signing off from Kutnatam Vlogs, this is Maheshwaran.